Hey, good evening, everybody. We are going to be going over the Aavegotchi Gotchiverse Game Bible, Chapter 2. I'm going to go over it live and quick, and we're going to see how this goes. So I'm going to try to do more videos quickly like this by being well-versed and trying to do them fast and reduce my editing. Hopefully. We'll see how it goes. Let's get into it. So, as you know from the last chapter, how a chapter becomes canon is that we have to talk about it in the forum, and if needed, things need to be rewritten and voted on and all those types of things. And then it goes into the Gotchiverse Game Bible on Github, where we will see all of the multiple iterations and changes that might happen over time. So let's get into Alchemical tokenomics. All right, so as you see the pretty Gotchiverse Game Bible title up here. So our total supplies over all time, we have 100 billion FUD, 50 billion FOMO, 25 billion Alpha, and 10 billion KEK. 25% of the total supply will come out through channeling, and to prevent excess inflation, new Alchemical will only be minted when the balance of the Great Portal is less than its capacity, which is determined by the DAO, I believe. I believe it's at 1% right now, which we're going to read that later. The ecosystem gets 10%. What that means is that they will be released via the vesting contract over a 30-year period, giving predictability and transparency to the usage of Alchemical within the ecosystem for years to come. 15% will go to gameplay, which is managed by Pixelcraft Studios and the Realm Smart Contract. These will be distributed in-game over time. So that is 5% of the total supply, which is not... Okay, so 15% allocation, which is 33% or 5% of the total supply, will be allocated via the smart contract boost system for adjacent Alchemica. These tokens are not vested but can only be minted via Gotchiverse gameplay. The remaining 66% or 10% of the total supply will be vested via the same schedule as the ecosystem allocation above and used primarily for Alchemical Bubble Ups. Now, what this is telling you is what is happening with the total 15% of gameplay. That's what they mean by 66 and 33% of the 15. Hello, Miss Alice. You're going to join the video? Hi. Anyway. Parcel allocations are 50% of the Alchemica that have been earmarked for parcels in the Gotchiverse, including all 3 acts and replenishing each act. So that's a lot for the parcels. Similar to the portal mechanic in Aavegotchi Realm, parcels must be surveyed before they can finally reveal the quantity of Alchemica that rests inside them. The surveying process is an on-chain call to the Chainlink VRF, a randomized number generator. So what you see here is averages of what a humble parcel or a reasonable parcel, a spacious, or a partner. These are the averages. So what that means is the minimum is about 5,694 on, say, the FUD for a humble parcel. So it's supposed to make sure that there's kind of an equal spread, not an equal spread, but even the people who end up with bad luck won't be screwed too bad. But it could also be that bad luck in one category, you might have better luck in another category. So having like low in FUD, but then high in KEK is actually good luck if you calculate it that way. So, revenue distribution. Now, this is where the minted tokens go into action, because until now, we've just been talking about how the tokens will come into the game. Now we're going to talk about what happens with the tokens in the game. So you're going to have to spend your tokens to create things on your structures. 35% of that revenue will go to the Great Portal. 30% will go to Pixelcraft. 30% goes to the DAO, or the open community. And 5% will get burnt because we just love our token burns. So, 35% of the Alchemica goes back to the Great Portal. And in excess of the capacity will be redistributed via alchemical channeling instead of minting new tokens. So what that means is the more people are spending tokens, the more they end up in the portal. And if the portal ends up over budget, then that gets put back out into channeling instead of minting new tokens. So it actually slows down the rate at which tokens are going to be minted if people are spending lots of money and keeping the Alchemica flowing through the ecosystem. Initially, the Great Portal capacity will be 1% of total supply. So that's what I was saying earlier about the portal capacity. So if it reaches 1% of the total supply, after that, it will go straight into channeling. Aavegotchi DAO gets 30%, and if you've been voting, then you know that this goes to any number of social initiatives and Wearable task force and all kinds of other things. I'm sure the ambassador program, other things. That's where this money will be spent for community initiatives. Pixelcraft Studio gets a cut because, hey, these guys got to make a game over here, huh? So, got to get paid. And, of course, there's the token burn. So this is supposed to make sure that we don't get into really high inflation as token burns are meant to do. I'm no tokenomics expert, so I don't really know. I understand that burning tokens makes them more expensive, but I don't really know how necessary it is for every ecosystem. But it's the hot new thing. Get it? Hot? Burning tokens. All right. So the Parcel Boosts. These are for people who bought those pretty shiny little rivers of Alchemica next to their parcels. And that's what this is all about here. The amounts are 1,500 and 250 and 100 respectively for the FUD, FOMO, Alpha, and KEK. And they will be replenished after each act. The great battle in every act. So I guess that means it will be distributed all throughout that first act. I believe there are rounds within each act. Oh, hi, Miss Alice. Miss Alice is back. Hello. Oh, you got something in your eye. Okay. Come on, we're trying to work here, baby. All right, so then there's the Alchemical Bubble Ups. These are additional boosts. They are sporadic but not infrequent. And this comes from the gameplay vested release allocation that we were mentioning earlier. Alice, stop. All right, so the recipes, and we're not going to go through the whole recipe book now. We'll go through that in another video, but the recipes are basically what it's going to take you to create things within the Gotchiverse, how much Alchemica and how much time, because things will be measured in blocks of time the way they're built, just like in other crafting type games, World of Warcraft and Command and Conquer and all those types of games where things take time to build. Harvest rate, capacity, and spillover. The harvester is capable of harvesting one type of Alchemica, which means you're going to need different harvesters for each type of Alchemica. And this is where, you know, having lots of friends comes in handy, because you're going to need to work together to get things done quicker, cheaper, and yeah, we're going to see how that works out. Spillover is another property of reservoirs that determines how much and how far Alchemica spills when it is claimed. Interesting. So yeah, this is interesting. Now, trait mappings are going to be really cool. I'm not going to get too deep into trait mappings. Why? Because it's confirmed but not immutable. And a lot of these things are really not even tested. They don't understand how it's going to work. So this is really, really theoretical. This is like how they would like to see it go, but we don't know how it's going to function yet in the game, because it'll just see what is capable of being programmed. So trait definitions: health points, which will also double as stamina. Armor reduces how much damage you take. Attack speed is your attack rate per second. Carrying capacity is how much Alchemica you can carry. Ethereality is your Gotchi's chance to evade enemy attacks and reduce wall knockback. Handling is how you can turn, just like a car. At acceleration, etc. So health regen speed is how quickly you'll get your health and stamina back. Melee damage is how much damage you will be able to do with the melee attack. Movement speed is how quickly you move. Range damage is how much damage you have at far range attacks. Vision range is how far out your Gotchi can see the world. Zoom level. That's interesting. So some Gotchis can zoom out farther than others. Okay. So that's your definitions. Now the mappings is what I'm really not going to get into too much, because you need to come check this out for yourself and just understand how your Gotchis will function. We have energy, aggression, spookiness, brains, and eye color. And you can see here that these are all going to have trade-offs. Energy will give you more carrying capacity and slower speed. Is that plus and minus? Yeah, so you can see there. Oh, I see. Low, high. Okay. So, okay, this makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, you're going to want to come check out your Gotchis themselves. You see here on the high side, movement speed is up, carrying capacity is low. If your carrying capacity is up, then your movement speed is low. So it's a balancing act between your traits. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this actually works, because it could be that people who have really maxed out some traits might find themselves a little, in trouble now that the world is going to open and maybe their traits don't align the way they thought they would. But this is not yet set in stone, so that's why I'm not going to go through all this and try to explain it all, because everything I say in this video could later be wrong. And you can just come speculate on this for yourself. Join us in some Gotchi spaces in the community call to talk about what you think these things will be like. Especially these mythical high collateral specific mappings. So rarity score and experience level and all this stuff is going to play a part, of course, because that's the kind of game this is going to be, and that's what I'm into. This seems like it's going to have a level of like action RPG, which kind of reminds me of A Link to the Past, that type of Zelda action RPG thing going on. So we'll see. Really cool. I mean, I still get that feeling from the last Wearable raffle. That was a really fantasy focused. All of those things could have been in A Link to the Past. So the Gotchiverse also offers benefits for leveling up. Instead of 1 point per 3 levels, it's 3 points per level, and the points can be put towards increasing health points, damage, and armor. So we'll have new reasons and places to use our points. So that's kind of cool. And that's it for the second chapter, folks. Third chapter should be coming soon. We have a whole lot going on this month, and it's going to be really cool. So come back and check out the next video and join us on the community call every Saturday at 2 p.m. UTC. See you there, Gotchi friends.